Their second overall pick went 24 for 35, 368 yards, 2 touchdowns, no punts, no turnovers. It's the first ever besides Peyton Manning. Stop doubting 5.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Right Bench Podcast. I'm Charlie.
And I'm James.
Season 3, episode 19. I think we only have 23 in the season, so we're getting very close to the end. Very big season. We got a big episode for you, probably our most content-rich episode of the year. College football playoff semifinals, the finals, the wild card, the divisional, all kinds of stuff, with recent rundown and dog of the week, of course. So, let's just get it started.
Let's do it.
Semifinals, college football. We had Notre Dame, Penn State, and we had Ohio State, Texas. Let's start with Notre Dame, and our audio already went out. So if you're on audio, let me just tell you right now. First of all,
we'll tell them when they come back.
First of all, yeah, okay. So if you're on YouTube, just like and subscribe real quick. We're kind of nearing 200, I guess.
We're gaining for sure.
Help us get there. Like and subscribe. When they come back, we're gonna let them know that audio sucks. All right. It doesn't suck. You should stay, but you should also not stay.
I mean, yeah, the audio ain't bad for sure, but it just kind of depends.
I don't know. I don't think it goes off for this long, actually. So
no, I don't think it does. We can just start. You want to just start with Notre Dame, Penn State, and then we'll tell them when we know it's back on.
As soon as we start, it's gonna come back on. Just like
look,
yeah. So if you're on audio, I don't know if you just heard us or not, but you need to flip to YouTube. You get all the different kinds of stuff. You get video. You get to look at my pretty face.
And mine.
Yeah, and James's.
Okay.
You get to. All kinds of music and stuff in the episode. So just check it out. You won't regret it, and you should subscribe there as well. Anyway, Notre Dame 27, Penn State 24. Crazy game, great game. Start with Penn State. What'd you take away?
I think first of all, I think Penn State just played a great game. They had a great year. They made it to the semifinals. A lot of blame's going to go on James Franklin for this game. It really shouldn't. I think he coached a very good game. I think Marcus Freeman coached a better game. But I think the pride that Drew Allar showed after throwing that pick at the end, obviously, and leading to the Notre Dame field goal in the win, it showed he really, truly loves Penn State. I mean, he was crying on the sideline. He was stressed out. I think it truly shows the camaraderie and the love that a guy has for his team. I think that was really cool to see because you don't really see emotions like that, like similar to Quinn Ewers. Like, you didn't see him crying, you kind of saw him laughing at the end of that game, right? So I think it's really cool. I know he was disappointed, obviously, but I think it was cool. Drew Allar, he really showed a lot of emotion. I think that shows he has a lot of pride in his team.
Yeah, and also the fumble wasn't on Quinn Ewers.
Yeah,
it was.
No, it wasn't.
But it's a different situation.
I just think it was cool.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
So
for Penn State, I said it like the James Franklin narrative sticks, right? Whether you believe it, whether you don't, it's gonna stay there because they were in a big game against a team that was better than them or just as good. They were in a close game down the stretch, and they didn't win. Another one-score loss, just like they did at Oregon, and with Ohio State. In the last few years, the same story over and over and over again. He just can't find a way to win. So at some point, that boils down to coaching. You have to be able to rally your team and find a way to win. And then for Notre Dame, but yeah, Penn State had a great year.
I was really impressed with their year.
Yeah, they had a good year. Definitely the best team they've had. Is Aller coming back?
He is.
So then that
was the biggest deal. Yeah, they got a lot of potential.
I'll start with Notre Dame. I said they did what they do best. They forced turnovers, and they just found a way to win. They forced the turnover late in the game when it looked bleak for their chances to win, and they just found a way to win the game, right? But in this championship game, they're going to have to find a way to be more effective offensively. All right? If they want to win, if they want to hoist the trophy, they got to be more effective. They only had 384 total yards, and they threw 2 picks. So that's something to watch.
Yeah, for sure. I was watching this game with my dad, and we were kind of saying, like, if Penn State takes this game to overtime, I think it's a very good chance that they win. Penn State, in my opinion, was playing the better game. They had a little bit of momentum, and then it all flipped, right? And I think the Notre Dame defense, the cool part about the entire game, they were flying around the field. In the second half especially. In the first half, they looked slow. The offense wasn't great. But their defense was just incredible in the second half. One of my key players was Jack Kaiser. He's a senior middle linebacker. He led the team in tackles, had 4 solo of them. Just the entire team. I mean, this is a team filled with 4 and 5 stars, some All-Americans. This defense is stout, and I think it's going to play a big deal in the championship game.
Yeah, well, Penn State didn't have a chance to just bring it to overtime. They had the ball
with
under 2 minutes in a tie game.
I was just saying, like, if they didn't end up scoring, I really thought that Penn State would win that game in overtime.
But it's Notre Dame just did what they do best, man. That's what I said. All right, Ohio State 28, Texas 14. James, start us off at Texas.
I said after the Clemson game in round 1 that Texas looked so good, and I thought they were going to go so far because of their ability to run the ball, right? They ran the ball so well against Clemson, and in the Arizona State game, they really didn't. In the Ohio State game, they could not run the ball for anything. I mean, the Ohio State guys on the defensive line were filling gaps. That's what was impressive to me on Ohio State's side, but Texas couldn't run it. I mean, you didn't take any pressure off of Quinn Ewers. We said early that Texas had to take a little bit of pressure off of Quinn Ewers, had to get him going early, and they weren't able to do that whatsoever. They couldn't run the ball, and I think that's what lost in this game.
Well, Quinn Ewers did play really well, though. He had a really good game. I mean, they were
maybe
at the 1 yard. They were at the 1 yard line with a chance to tie the game late in the game, and and that's not on Quinn Ewers. That's on the coaching. I think I'll talk to that in a second. But my main takeaway for Texas was that if anyone could beat Ohio State, it was Texas. They had the Jimmies, they had the Joes, they had the talent to beat Ohio State, and
Jimmies and Joes is a good one.
They were really, really right there. They were right there, had a chance to tie it late, and they just couldn't pull it off. I think they played a really good game. Like we said, they needed to have a chance. But I think the main thing that lost in this game was when they're down at the goal line. I think they were at the 1 and they tried to run it in and they didn't get it, right? So now they're at like the 2 or 1.5. And they snapped it into the shotgun to like the 6 and pitched it back to like the 9.
Yeah,
That's not how you win. That's on Sark. Whether I don't know if Quinn checked into that play. It doesn't matter if that's even a possible check. Not okay. Cannot have that. And that's the reason you lost this game, because you just punched that ball in straight down the middle under center. Then we have a tie ball game late, but instead Ohio State gets a scoop and score.
Yeah, I mean, it went from a 0-point ball game tied up to a 14-point ball game like that. I think the moment between Jack Sawyer and Quinn Ewers was really cool. I thought like they were teammates and roommates at Ohio State, right? They're good friends. They know each other, and they were both smiling after it. I think Quinn Ewers was obviously disappointed. I think it was cool. Jack Sawyer came out after and he said to him walking off the field, "Screw you," and like laughing about it. I thought it was really, really cool, just the moment they had. I think it just shows that you can have rivalries in football, but you can also have so much camaraderie. And I think it's really, really cool that we see storylines like this, because you don't see this a lot. And a team like Ohio State, who was not supposed to be here if they would have been in a 14 playoff, gets their chance. And they're the hottest team of football right now with a very good shot to win a national title.
Yeah, for Ohio State, I mean, they showed what their defense is capable of. Versus a Texas offense that's very potent, very good, with all the talent that they have. And they gave up 14 points. Granted, that could have been 21, but why wasn't it? Because their defense showed up at the goal line, right? And they're going to need that again. If they can play this kind of defense again or anything close to it, it'll be a rough day for Notre Dame. So I like to see them play just as well as they did in this game against Notre Dame.
All right.
Shot the pencil.
Well, transitioning into that, let's just talk about the national title game. It's going to be number 8 Ohio State versus number 7 Notre Dame in Atlanta. Ohio State opened as a 9.5-point favorite. It's gone down to an 8-point favorite. You want to start off with your key players in the game?
8.5-point favorite now.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
8.5 went up since a couple hours ago.
Yeah. All right. Notre Dame. It might be just a different. That's ESPN bet.
Yeah,
Today bet's different.
You're right.
Anyway, Notre Dame, my key player, it's got to be Riley Leonard. I think I've said him for every single game. I'm going to keep saying him in this game because he's got to play the game of his life. An elite defense. That's what Ohio State has. And Riley Leonard has to play the game of his life to give his team a chance. Period. He needs to be a dual threat, passing the ball, running the ball, doing it all, and he must protect the football. Right? You give Ohio State extra possessions, advantageous field position, then it's going to be a rough night. So Riley Leonard, my key player, always will be.
For Notre Dame, I picked this guy in the first game, and I've just been so impressed with what he's done in the playoffs. Xavier Watts. He's the All-American this year, the senior safety. He's been incredible, especially in the playoffs. They need a defensive presence. I think forcing multiple turnovers in this game is what's going to win it for you, which they've done all year. But Ohio State is a different kind of offense of what they've gone up against. So I think just being able to scheme the right way and have a guy out there who's smart, ready to play. I think Xavier Watts plays a big factor in this game. I think the defense as a whole is going to be the big factor for Notre Dame. It has been all year. It's what kept them in games. So I think the Notre Dame defense and Xavier Watts plays a big, big key in the national title.
I think it's crazy how Notre Dame's... Oh, there goes the audio again. I think that's crazy how Notre Dame's leading receiver is 450 yards.
Mm-hmm.
That's nuts. I've seen it for a few of these playoff teams. I just think it's crazy. So Ohio State, my key player is Jeremiah Smith. Texas was able to limit him, and that's why partly Texas was in the game with a chance to win late. But I don't think Notre Dame can. I really don't. And if they can't. If Jeremiah Smith goes wild, this game will be a very, very long game for Notre Dame. So I think Jeremiah Smith is my key player. Not that if he doesn't play well, they'll lose, but if he does play well, this game's already over.
Yeah, I agree. But I did go with Will Howard. Here's a cool thing for you. Notre Dame plays the most man defense in the country this year. They love to play man. Marcus Howard's love to play man with the deep high safety. And Will Howard's QBR is the highest against man. I just think he plays a really, really good game. He's got 9 touchdowns and 0 interceptions versus man coverage this year. I think a guy like Jeremiah Smith is so hard to guard. I think Texas, obviously, they have some of the best defensive backs in the country. They have the guy who won the best defensive back in the country, who we talked about last week.
What's his name, real quick?
Jade Barron.
All right.
I was just trying to go quick. But okay. Notre Dame does not have a guy like that. So I think Will Howard, against man coverage, with them running the most of it, I think it plays a big, big factor. And I think Will Howard, just if he plays a good game, I think it's over in the first half.
Yeah. I mean, Notre Dame is a really rough matchup for them.
Yeah, for sure.
Like they've had good matchups in Penn State and Georgia, who play kind of like them, but this is a whole different beast. Key matchup, I'll start us off with the Notre Dame defensive line versus the Ohio State offensive line. I think Notre Dame needs to get to Howard, pressure him, make him do things himself, make him check down, just don't give him time in the pocket, and don't let those receivers have time to get open. Because if Ohio State can protect Will Howard and give him time to find those receivers down the field, they're going to be very, very hard to stop.
I kind of agree. I think mine was Jeremiah Smith versus the way that Notre Dame decides to guard him. Texas last week, they bracketed him multiple times, meaning they had 3 guys, one on his left, one on his right, and one up top, and it kind of worked. Ohio State they figured out how to. I mean, it did work.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, okay, sorry. Yeah, it did work. So I think it's just going to depend on how Notre Dame wants to do it. Marcus Freeman's going to have to coach this defense very, very well. And I think Jeremiah Smith is just such a hard player to guard for Notre Dame because it's different. Texas's defense was different this year. They were top 3 in the country all year. Notre Dame was too, but they were better against the run. I think the pass defense has to play a big part in this game if they want to have a chance. And Jeremiah Smith's just too good.
Another time audio goes out. Crazy. I don't know. It's been a lot recently. I don't know. Whatever. I don't know why I'm talking about this. Keys to the game. For Notre Dame, I said is force turnovers. Create points. Just like you've done the last few games. It's how you are here. Create points by forcing turnovers. Steal those possessions that you're really going to need to have versus Ohio State. And turn the game into a grinded-out game where you can grind it out and go get a win. Find a way to win the game. That's the key to the game for Notre Dame.
Yeah, mine was get off to a quick start. You can't play catch-up against Ohio State. We've had a bunch of teams do it. Oregon tried to do it. They had no chance. Riley Leonard's legs should help with this a lot because he's able to get off to quick starts. They're able to run the ball effectively. I think if they do that, get off to a quick start, don't play catch-up, Notre Dame's got a shot.
For sure. Ohio State, I said do what you've done all playoff. Protect the football. You've done it so well all playoff. Notre Dame's going to try to make you turn it over because that's what they want. That's what they've been good at. You cannot feed into that. You need to be able to run the ball and pass the ball effectively, just like you've been able to do. If you can be a 2-dimensional offense that protects the ball, you win this game easy.
Yeah, I agree. It's play your game, man. There's no reason to switch up here. Ryan Day's team is playing the best football that we've seen from them all year. After that Michigan flag planting and them scoring 10 points against Michigan in their own stadium, they've pulled it together, right? I mean, they beat Tennessee, Oregon, and Texas. Sorry. They've beat 3 elite teams in this playoffs, and Texas was the only one that really made it close, but I mean, they honestly dominated that game offensively. So throw it through the air a lot versus man coverage. I think that plays a big part. Play your game and play smart on offense.
Yeah, and if for Notre Dame, just look at what Texas did. Watch that game. See how they were able to make it close down the stretch and try to mimic that because that's the only way you really have a chance to make it close down the stretch and find a way to win the game.
You know Marcus Freeman played at Ohio State.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. Our pick, it looks like we're trending in a certain direction here. So you start us off. I
went with Ohio State to win the national title, 27-20. I think it's closer than people think. Obviously, the line's at 8.5. You said. I think it is closer than that. I just think Ohio State's just going to dominate them, but the score is going to look nicer at the end. So Ohio State finally wins the national title. Ryan Day gets his national title, secures that job for the next 10 years. Ohio State wins a big one. And they had a really weird year, and I think it would be really cool to cap it off with a national title. I think just showing that the 4-team playoff was not the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
It should always give a shot to the best teams. So Ohio State winning the national title would be really cool.
Same thing like Georgia last year. I've said it a few times.
They wouldn't have won the national title.
I think they would have. We'll never know. But
this is way different.
I'm pretty confident that Ohio State's better, but
this is an 8 seed. Like, this is way different.
Well, they were ranked number like 6.
Georgia?
Ohio State would rank number like 6.
Okay, well, I'm saying in the playoff, but yeah.
So my pick, I'm gonna go with Notre Dame, like I've been saying. No, I'm joking. I'm going with Ohio State, 27-13. I think Ohio State just jumps on them early, like they did to Oregon, like they did to Tennessee. I think Notre Dame settles into the game, but it just won't be enough. It'll be too little, too late. I think Jeremiah Smith and Travion Henderson have big games en route to a big win for Ohio State, securing the national title.
Finally, man, they do it. I don't know. I think it'll be just really cool to see the way that Ryan Day continues to build the Ohio State program, because his job should have never been in jeopardy. That dude is a good coach. Right now, you can't lose to Michigan again. Like we got to start beating Michigan in the next couple of years. But Ohio State, really cool season. Don't know if I'm cheering for him though. I don't know who I'm cheering for. I think I'm pretty neutral.
Yeah, I'm pretty neutral too. Yeah. I guess I'm cheering for Ohio State. I'd say, but I don't really care because I said it from the start.
Yeah, I mean, I'm cool with anyone winning.
Yeah,
so.
All right.
Oh, sorry. Cue the music.
Ohio State and Notre Dame advance to the college football playoff finals. They'll play on Monday for the national championship. The Texans, Ravens, Bills, Rams, Commanders, and Eagles win their wild card matchups. They move on to the divisional round. We'll talk about that in a minute. The Titans get the number 1 pick in the NFL draft, followed by the Browns, Giants, and Patriots. The Raiders, Patriots, and Jaguars fire their coaches, and Mike Vrabel was hired as the Patriots coach. Mike McCarthy and the Cowboys couldn't come to a contract agreement this offseason, so McCarthy's out as the Cowboys head coach. Brent Rooker re-signs with the Athletics, Justin Verlander signs with the Giants, Jeff Hoffman signs with the Blue Jays, and Gavin Lux was traded to the Reds for like a prospect and some draft picks. Carson Beck was transfers. He wasn't traded. He was transferring to Miami, and Quinn Ewers declares for the NFL draft. Deshaun Watson tears his Achilles again. Is his career over? The Texans waived Deontay Johnson just for the Ravens to claim him again. Nick Richards was traded to the Suns for Josh Okogie. A new rule states that colleges will have $20.5 million to spend on players, and it must be gender proportional, meaning if 50% of your athletes are women, 50% of that money has to go to women. The 2024-2025 Right Bench Podcast NFL picks results are in. I know you've been waiting for this. Again, big recent news, gotta be in recent rundown. Charlie 174, James 156. I captured the second year to make it a 1-1 tie. And the guest picker winner was Luke Duval. You'll see him on next week. And Rookie Sasaki has to sign very soon, James. What do you think it'll happen?
Shoot, I got no clue. Let's go Dodgers.
Okay, yeah, I would say that.
That's the easy pick.
I would say that, but they've got like 2 rotations already.
So yeah, they got enough money to do it.
Yeah, they got all the money in the world. No, it's Rookie Sasaki. It's like so crazy. So he's coming like a year early, I think. Mm-hmm. So you can only get him for like $5 million. Is the most you can sign. You can only use your like international pool money.
That's kind of cool.
So that's like he's gonna take all your international pool money, but it's not a lot.
It's definitely worth it.
It's only a couple $1 million, and he's gonna be a bona fide like star in MLB. So that's huge. Maybe for Buck, he's the best free agent by far.
Shout out Josh Okogie. Yeah. We love you in Phoenix, man. Welcome Nick Richards. I think it's going to be interesting to see. I don't think it really moves our needle whatsoever.
Well, I'll talk about Rookie Sasaki. I'll say mine. I think Rookie Sasaki is going to go to the Padres. I think...
Oh, sorry. I thought you already said it. My bad. I thought you were going to say Dodgers.
No, I'm going to say Padres. I just think with Yu Darvish there, he said he wants to... I think he said he wants to play with Yu Darvish, which would be great. Just in California, with all the Japanese heritage and stuff there. But I think he's pretty much narrowed down. Is what I saw. He narrowed down to Dodgers, Padres, Blue Jays, but I don't really know.
I think it's definitely a California.
Yankees could be in the mix, but I think Blue Jays are definitely in there as well. Because like no team can't sign him. Like every team can sign him. If Rookie Sasaki walks up to a team and says, "I want to sign here," they will say yes.
Yeah.
So that's what makes it so interesting. So let's move on to the NFL. Wild card.
A lot of football this weekend, guys.
A lot of football. So, wild card games, there's 6 of them. We'll give our takeaways like we did for college football every week. So, Texans 32, Chargers 12. James, start us off. This one was a shocker.
Y'all know my opinion on Justin Herbert. I'm not going to go a long time on it, but I'll give him his flowers for this season. He had a very good year with a rookie head coach with not as many weapons as he's had in the past. Had a very efficient year. But Eli McConkey was very, very good this year. Shout out to him.
He had 200 yards in this game.
Yeah, I mean he was top 10 in yards this year. Like
Yeah.
that's so like no one even realizes. But he threw 3 interceptions in the regular season, but 4 in this game. 2 went to Derek Stingley, the All-Pro. I just think Herbert. I don't know. Maybe you'll be successful, maybe you won't. But you're still not in my top 15, dog.
Okay. Yeah.
Not my top 20.
Derek Stingley. Okay, that's just absolutely nuts. We'll talk about this next year once he goes to the playoffs again and has another.
Well, he chokes in the playoffs every year.
Yeah. So. The Chargers, I think they have pieces. They do. They have Herbert. They have the coach. They have a solid defense, solid young core. They need to be able to build off of it for a little bit, but they're very close to being contenders. And I think Herbert, he's got to be able to play well in the playoffs. He had a stinker. He did 4 interceptions. And the last time he was in the playoffs, if you recall, against the Jaguars, they went out to a big lead, and they ended up losing. But you could say if he hangs 30 on them, they should win. But you could also say that like. He didn't do anything in the second half. So there's 2 viewpoints for that game. This game, there's only one. He played bad. And so that's what I think. The Chargers have pieces, but Herbert has to be able to play in the playoffs if they want to be contenders.
Yeah, I agree. But I think the Texas defense surprised me in a really good way. I think just they're young, obviously, but the way they move on the field and the way they're coached is actually really something special. Now, do I think it gives them a chance against Kansas City? Maybe not, but I think the defense has a lot of pieces to be very successful in the future. I think they're very good this year, obviously, but I think they can be even better in the future. I'm excited to see the Texans' defense in the next couple of years.
Yeah, the Texans' defense went nuts in this game. They got 4 interceptions, obviously. And they're going to be forced to reckon with in these playoffs. And I just do want to point out that C.J. Stroud, D'Amico Ryans, this Texans team, didn't have a great year this year. But just like they did last year, they came out in the playoffs and they won the wild card game. This just shows early in their careers, D'Amico Ryans, C.J. Stroud, this Texans formula that they have, very elevates their game in the playoffs. So that's something to watch in future years, even in this week against the Chiefs. C.J. Stroud didn't have the greatest game, but his defense allowed him to get the blowout. Can we talk about the bonehead play the kicker made, too?
I don't remember.
When they bought the extra point, and the kicker, swatted it down.
Yeah.
That was funny.
I mean, it didn't really affect the game that much.
No, it didn't. But I mean, it brought it from a 1-possession game to a 2-possession game.
Yeah,
so,
I guess.
Start of the fourth quarter, that's pretty important.
Maybe, yeah.
Next game, Ravens 28, Steelers 14.
For Pittsburgh, there feels like there's just something missing there in the past 5 years, right? They always get in the playoffs. They always have a winning record. But maybe it's Mike Tomlin, right? Mike Tomlin is a great coach. I would want to play for him if I was a player, but there's obviously something where he can't win in the playoffs, right? He has this 10-7 season or an 11-6 season, right? He has a very good year, but they haven't been able to really do anything in the playoffs. And this year they had a very good team. Russell Wilson was playing his best ball, and they've skidded as of late. But
Russell Wilson was playing his best ball.
I mean,
Of
since
his
the
career?
Broncos. No, not of his
Okay.
career. But I mean, we saw what he did with the Broncos the last 2 years, right?
That was more situational. I think that was.
You keep
out
saying
of
that
character
he was
Russell Wilson.
not good.
No,
Like,
no,
let's
he
just
was
be
bad.
real.
No, he was bad. I'm saying like that wasn't Russell Wilson. Like Russell Wilson is the good Russell Wilson. That was the out of character part.
Yeah.
So
But like,
this isn't like Russell Wilson playing out of character. This is Russell Wilson playing in character when he was out of character.
but we gotta remember he's getting older and older. Like I was very impressed with what he did this year,
Yeah.
especially not playing the first 4 to 5 weeks. So I was impressed, but there's something missing in Pittsburgh, and I'm gonna try to figure out what it is.
Well, I'm gonna disagree with you. I'm gonna say it's not Mike Tomlin. I'm gonna say it's just the players. They don't have the players. I think they need to. Well, they have players. They just don't have playoff winning teams. They don't have the right offense. They have the defense. They have every year. But that's not gonna win you games in the playoffs at this point. You need to have the great quarterback. You need to have that great the great pass catchers, the great skill players, and they just don't have that. So I think the Steelers they just need to blow it up, start over. Because with the roster they have built, like the skeleton of the roster will always be a first round exit. That's just the way it's built. You need to start over. You need to be bad for a couple of years, but then build yourself back up with a franchise quarterback, with a solid offense and a defense that is serviceable, like all these other teams have. Look at the Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens, all these teams that are winning in the playoffs, right? And for the Ravens, I said Lamar played well, but I need to see it one more time before I can trust him for real, right? He played well against the Steelers defense. That's very good. He had a really good game. But that's not going to make me trust him until I see it against the Bills this week. So I'm really excited to see what he can do.
I'm going to go the opposite direction. That man, Derrick Henry, is a dog, right? 26 carries for 186 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, he kind of took over in this game. There was no way that Pittsburgh was able to stop him. Lamar got a little bit of weight lifted off his shoulders, which I think was good for him. He was able to settle in, and then Lamar played a good game. But Derrick Henry, really, like, for this Ravens team, he might have been the best ad of the offseason because for a Ravens team that looked like they were missing that one key piece, right? They were missing that one thing. I think he added that, and I think they got a good chance to go win in Buffalo.
Yeah, it's either him or Saquon, and we'll see what
For
happens.
sure, I think it's Saquon, but I think it's definitely debatable.
Hey, over the next 2 weeks, we'll see who it was.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's debatable, but I would probably say Saquon if I'm really like thinking about
whoever
it.
goes farther in the playoffs is going to be that one. If one of them makes the Super Bowl,
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
All right. Bills 31, Broncos 7. I'll start with the Bills. The Bills' offense is just unreal. Like, it honestly brings me joy to watch this offense play. Like, I'm not like trying to glaze or anything. I'm being serious. Like, dead ass. Like, they cannot be stopped.
Yeah.
Cannot be stopped. They're going to be very, very tough team to knock out. With that offense, nobody can stop them. So just something to watch. You're going to have to stop that offense if you want to knock out the Bills.
I think I totally agree with you, and I'm very similar. But I think it's the cool part about it, and why it's so much fun to watch, is they spread the wealth. Right? There's no one player. Like
There's no receivers.
Like Amari Cooper didn't come in and immediately become the number one guy and catch every ball, right? Josh Allen spread. Okay, well, Amari Cooper's good.
He's good, but he hasn't been that good with the Bills.
I mean, they have a decent receiving core, right? They don't have a receiving core I would say that them and the Ravens are a very similar receiving core, if I'm being honest, right? So, but the Bills, the spread the wealth offense, like they pass it to guys like. They spread it everywhere, and I think that's what's really good about Josh Allen, the way he plays football. It's very enjoyable to watch and a lot different than what we've seen in the past 10, 20 years, right? He spreads it to everybody, and they play a team game. I think that's why the offense is so much fun.
And James Cook's a dog. I love watching James Cook.
Yeah, I agree.
The Broncos, they're just ahead of schedule, right? Knicks, he played fine. He didn't collapse in the playoffs, which is something good to see if you're a Broncos fan. But we expected this to happen. I mean, they have a lot of building left to do. This is just the start for the Broncos, so I'm excited to see what they do in the next few years.
Yeah, I went similar, but I pinned it exactly on Bo Nix. Like I'm saying, he can be very, very good. He was really, really good this year. I mean, he was in Offensive Rookie of the Year talks, but he's just not ready yet, right? I think the deep ball accuracy has gotten so much better.
That first drive,
it looked like the Broncos were going to hang in the entire game.
I was getting scared for my kid.
Then they got dominated. But the deep ball accuracy and what Sean Payton has been able to do with Bo Nix, and that's what Sean Payton has done his entire career, right? I mean, he develops quarterbacks. He knows how to do it. And I think getting a guy like Bo Nix, he said in the draft, I want Bo Nix. That's my guy. I know how to develop him, and I think he's done a really good job. But like you said, they're ahead of schedule. I think the Broncos can be very good in the next couple of years. But go back into the lab, find a guy in the draft, and I think they come back even better next year.
Yeah. We were skeptical when the Broncos drafted Bo Nix, but
I was very skeptical.
We need to learn not to doubt Sean Payton when it comes to quarterbacks. Period. When it comes to playing your job, then sure you can doubt him.
I said the Broncos were going to be the worst record of the NFL at the beginning of the year, and I'll stick on that tape.
That was week 6.
Oh, week 6.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they were very bad until Bo Nix found it. Until Bo Nix found his. They were not 4-2 at week 6.
I think they were.
No way.
I looked it up. They were.
There's no way. They must play some horrible teams.
I'll look it up. You start talking about the Eagles beating the Packers 22-10.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the Packers first. Rex Ryan went on live television and killed this man for saying, "Is he an elite quarterback? Is Jordan Love a top 15 quarterback, top 10 quarterback who's been putting in conversations this year? Is he that guy? Can he lead Green Bay to a Super Bowl? Can he lead Green Bay in the playoffs? I mean, they were a 7 seed this year, right? They weren't that good. They played in a very hard division, obviously. They probably would have grabbed it, and I mean, they're in the NFC South. They grabbed that easily. But is Jordan Love an elite quarterback? I think it's a question a lot of us have to ask ourselves. He threw 3 interceptions in this game. I think we need to all ask ourselves, is he that good of a quarterback? Does he still need more time because he's still a young guy? I'm pulling for Jordan Love, but we'll see in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I don't think he's an elite quarterback, but I think he's a good quarterback. I think he can bring you, with pieces around him, to a Super Bowl. But you need more pieces around him. But what I said for the Packers in this one was that the injuries just killed them, right? They had so many. Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, countless on their defense, on their offensive line. They had so many guys go out. If they had all these guys in the game, they would have had a really, really good chance to win this game and might have even done it. Because the Eagles did not play their best game whatsoever. But if the Packers can make a few big moves, they'll be contenders. But they got to make some big ones, and they got to get better fast.
Yeah, I agree.
The Broncos were...
They're 3-3.
They were 3-3, 5-3. So I think when you said it, they were 3-2.
They're 3-2. Gotcha.
All right.
Okay.
Then they were 5-5, and then they won 4 in a row.
Yeah, no, then they went, yeah. I mean, after that Saints game, I think is when it turned a lot of people's heads, too, in a way, because it was on prime time, and Bo Nix played such a good game.
That was
it turned my head, at least. which because I was watching that game
My
as a
head
Saints
turned.
fan.
Well, my head like really turned in the Bengals game. That's the only one I really watched. But I knew he was good. Then that Bengals game when he was playing out of his mind, like that was when my head went from like, yeah, this guy's good to yeah, this guy might be like really good.
So for the Eagles, I want to hype them up because the Eagles I thought they were going to be the best team in the NFC at the beginning of the year. I thought they were going to win a Super Bowl. Like that was my guys in the NFC. They were the 2 seed. They were very good this year, but they had some grind out games. And I think this game gave me even more doubts about them. They had a slow start. In the first half, they did not look that good. Obviously, Jalen Hurts threw 2 touchdowns. Saquon looked great. Goddard had an amazing play where he stiff arms like 3 people. They look good, but they don't look like they can go win a Super Bowl, right? You have to switch that up against the Rams this week. There is no room for error against a very good LA team. But I think it just gave me a couple more doubts about the Eagles, especially in that first half.
Ooh, that was a good crack. All right, anyway. For the Eagles, I said their running game was really good. You saw Saquon, he played really well. But I need to see more of the Eagles' passing game. That's what held them back in this game. That's what kept them to only 22 points. They had 100. Wait, okay, sorry. How many passing yards do you think Jalen Hurts had?
It was less than Love.
I gave you the first digit.
Love had like 222. So
I just gave you the first digit.
It was 1.
Yeah.
I don't know, like 187.
131.
Yeah, okay.
That's insane. You gotta do better than that.
He rushed for a little bit too. Like
he rushed for like 30 something.
Yeah, I mean he didn't play the greatest game, but he threw 2 touchdowns.
No, I'm not talking about Jalen Hurts in general. I'm talking about the offense in general. Like the passing offense has to be better. The passing attack needs to be better against the Rams team that will beat you. Like they can't. And so I need to see that if they want to go anywhere else in this playoffs. Commanders 23, Bucks 20.
Let's start with the Buccaneers. They put way too much pressure on Bucky Irving. Let's get that straight. This kid is a rookie. He's been great this year, but he had 17 carries. The same amount as Baker's pass attempts. Like, how are we putting that kind of pressure?
Pass attempts?
Yes. How are we putting that pressure? I mean, Baker rushed for a lot, too. Like, he was getting outside the pocket. But how do you put that pressure on a rookie in the playoffs? You can't. Bucky Irving's great. Well, Bucky Irving's talk.
Well, no, I'm talking about in the playoffs. You might as well.
He's had like I think he had like 7 or 8 carries in that game.
Well, that's not bad.
But they put a ton of pressure on Bucky Irving on third downs and areas. They were putting him in to pick up 3rd and 5s. Like that is tough on a rookie. We have to remember that he's a rookie. Not all rookies are going to play like Jaden Daniels this year. Let's remember that.
Yeah, the Bucks fought. They played a really good game, I thought, but they just couldn't quite get it done. And the kudos to Commanders. They found a way to win. The Bucks, they have a solid core built. They just need to build around it. I think they need a couple more pieces here, there, and they can be contenders, but they just aren't really there yet. But Baker's a guy that can bring you to the Super Bowl if you have correct pieces around him.
Yeah, I agree. Let's talk about the Commanders, man. This year, they won 4 games last year. Let's remember that. Won 4 games, got the 2nd overall pick. Their 2nd overall pick went 24 for 35, 368 yards, 2 touchdowns, no punts, no turnovers. It's the first ever besides Peyton Manning. Stop doubting 5, dude. Stop. JD5 is here, and he's ready. Like he genuinely looks like one of the best rookie quarterbacks I've ever watched. He's my favorite rookie quarterback I've ever watched. Obviously, I'm young. But JD5 is that guy. He's going to be that guy in Washington for the next 10 to 20 years. He's a dog. Stop doubting him.
Yeah, people were saying coming into the playoffs, can this guy do it in the playoffs? And it was a solid thing to say. Like, we hadn't seen him in the playoffs yet. But yes, Jaden can do it in the playoffs as well. I think next year will be a big year for Jaden because that's second year. Like
that sophomore slump.
Will it be the CJ Stroud or will it be I think that's what would tell us if he's going to be a really good quarterback or a good quarterback, or like a top 3 quarterback in the NFL.
Great MVP.
I think next year will tell us that this guy is here. One thing for the Commanders that they need to run the ball better. They had 82 rushing yards, and that includes what Jaden did, like 30 something.
Yeah.
And so the 3-headed monster that they have at the running back position or the quarterback/quarterback position, they need to be able to run the ball better against the Lions if they want any dream of a chance in this game.
Yeah, I agree.
Rams 27, Vikings 9.
This game was sad, man. I was excited to watch this game. It was my second most exciting game. I think I said that on the pod. I mean, obviously, Commanders Bucks. Oh.
Yeah. So we didn't talk
really?
About it. We didn't.
I must have said that to somebody else. I must have said this was my second favorite or whatever to watch.
I wouldn't disagree.
But it felt like for the Vikings, that Lions game just carried over. I picked the Vikings to beat the Lions 2 weeks ago on the podcast. I thought the Vikings were going to grab the number 1 seed. I thought they had to.
It's always been Detroit.
And they didn't. And it's always been Detroit in the NFC. But the Vikings had a great year. I want to shout out what Sam Darnold did this year because he's going to get overshadowed by the last 2 weeks, right? He did not play good. against the Lions. He did not play good against the Rams. But he had a great season, and he led the Vikings to a season they never thought they were going to have. People picked this team to finish last in the NFC North. I thought they were going to finish last in the NFC North. Very impressive what Sam Darnold did. Even though he tanked some of his money and what he could do in free agency, still respect to Sam Darnold and respect to Kevin O'Connell this year.
Yeah, coming into the season, I said, the Vikings probably won't be good, but don't be surprised if they slide into the back door in the playoffs, right? Because that's the kind of team they are, right? And they did way more than that. They went 14-3, obviously. Didn't quite win the division, but 14-3 is crazy. 5 seed in the playoffs.
You win any other division.
Yeah, but I want to talk about how much Sam Darnold lost over the last 2 games, right? Did he lose the Minnesota job? Most likely, yes. Because I don't know if they were going to re-sign him at all in the first place, but you went from a franchise quarterback to, is he? And now you can have J.J. McCarthy on a rookie deal and build around him. Looks way more appetizing now than it did 3 weeks ago. How much money did he lose? Sam Darnold's going to get his bag this summer.
Maybe.
Not this summer. Or this spring.
Yeah,
Sam Darnold's going to get his bag this offseason. That's what I was trying to say. But will he reset the market? No. He had a chance to do that before these last 2 games. So he'll get a solid amount of money, go play quarterback for a bad team. Instead of resetting the market, right? And so that's just, I wanted to highlight how much Sam Darnold lost. And then also my second thing was that the Rams just elevate in the playoffs. That's what they've done under Sean McVay, with Matthew Stafford. They've elevated their game in the playoffs. The Vikings, they just haven't. I don't know what problem it is. Is it the cast of guys they have around them, kind of like the Steelers? Is it the coaching? Is it Kevin O'Connell? I don't want to say it is because I love Kevin O'Connell, but is it? Right? It's not Sam Darnold because this isn't the first year they've done that. Right? And so something's got to change in the Vikings organization, whether it's just development, whether it's making a change. It's got to happen because these guys just don't elevate in the playoffs. But the Rams, kudos to them. They are, especially Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay, they're playoff elevators, and I love that in this team.
Yeah, they feel like they're the hottest team right now in the NFC, in my opinion. Besides the Lions, because they didn't play last week, right? But out of all the teams that played last week, the Rams are rolling, and Stafford is a bad man. I mean, Matthew Stafford is a guy you can plug into any system, and he's going to play well. He's just that type of quarterback. He's fit so well into Sean McVay's offense in the past 5 years. It has been so much fun to watch. I hope that they go...
5 years? No, it hasn't.
He went there in 2020?
They won the World Series in his first year. Or not the World Series. They won the Super Bowl in his first year. That was 21.
We got there in the 2020 offseason.
Okay.
So he's been there for probably 5 years.
2021 offseason.
No, if they won it in 2020.
They won it. It was 2022 Super Bowl. The 2021 season.
You're right. 4 years. Sorry, 4 years.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just had to check.
Yeah, no, you're right. But like either way, Stafford, the way he's just plugged into Sean McVay's system, it's been fun to watch. And they're rolling right now, and they're going to give the Eagles a run for their money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, don't be surprised if someone picks the Rams today. Divisional round. I'm so excited. The best week of football in the NFL.
Best week of football in like...
In the NFL.
In just general, though. I mean, we get...
Second round of the college football playoff is probably better now.
Maybe.
Because it's the same deal. It's just college
But
football.
yeah, but then when we get the national title, too. Like, I'm just saying football in general. We get all this, and then one day we get to see the national title.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. Last week could be... No, this week probably is better. So, yeah. All right, 4-seed Texans, 1-seed Chiefs. We'll go keys to the game in our pick. So not quite as in-depth as college football, but we are already 37 minutes into this episode. So, the Texans first. I said win the turnover battle, just like you did last week against the Chargers. Put your offense in favorable positions against the Chiefs defense and a Chiefs team that is better than you. Period. Put yourself in favorable positions, and go see if you can win a game.
Yeah, so I said pretty much the exact same thing. You have to force multiple turnovers to Kansas City because they're not going to make many mistakes. We know that Kansas City is coached well. They have elite players. They have veteran players. That's what Kansas City is so good about. You got to force multiple turnovers, and you got to find some tweaks in that offense for Kansas City where you can dominate. So forcing multiple turnovers and getting out to a big lead at the start is going to help the Texans win this game.
Yeah, for the Chiefs, I said play a clean football game. Protect the football and play solid defense. That's what they've done all year, though. That's the scary part. They've done it all year. That's why they're 15-2, really 15-1. And so that's just for the Chiefs. Do what you've done all year, and you'll win this game easy.
Mine is run the ball well, which they've done all year. I've been very impressed with what they've done with Pacheco out for so many weeks here and there. They obviously picked up Kareem Hunt. He has had an amazing season. Carson Steele, the rookie, has played great in a role. And Kansas City's just able to develop guys that might not seem like they're going to be the best players. They develop them into very good players. Now you got Pacheco back after the bye week. you get him fully healthy now. So run the ball well, and like you said, play a clean football game, and you walk out of here with a pretty easy win at home.
Yeah, so you want to start us off with your pick?
Yeah, I think Kansas City's going to run the ball well. I don't think Houston's going to force multiple turnovers. I just think they're outmatched too much. These are the two-time Super Bowl champs. I got 27-10 Chiefs.
Wow. I've got a little bit of a slower game, maybe a little bit more competitive. I've got 24-14 Chiefs. I think it's going to be a defensive game that maybe has a little bit of a higher score, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas City, I think they just play their game. Like I said, they win easy. They're just a better team. They show it here. The Texans never really are going to have life in this game. It'll be a 10-point game, maybe the whole time.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you want to go in like chronological order or AFC, NFC? Like, what do you want to do here?
Let's go. Let's end it off with the best game of the week.
Okay, well that is the last game.
Okay, so let's go to Eagles Rams then. You don't want to talk about Eagles Rams?
Well, if we're gonna go,
you go NFC, and then that's the first
NFC. If we go AFC, NFC, NFC A.
You just want to okay.
All right, and also I think this Rams Eagles.
Okay, so you want to go to the Saturday night game? Okay.
Yeah, let's do that. All right. 6 seed Commanders, 1 seed Lions. No, I put so much thought into that. We're gonna talk about all of them. I promise. For Washington, I said just run the football. You didn't do it last week. Don't let the Detroit defense hone in on Jaden Daniels, because as good as he is, their defense is just as good. They've got flyers out there. They're going to fly Jaden Daniels, be just as fast or almost as fast as him, right? And they're going to probably be able to fluster him if you can just hone in on him. So you have to be able to run the football either with Robinson or with Eckler. It can't just be Jaden Daniels if you want to win this game.
So I want to give you a stat. I'm going to challenge you on this. Detroit is number 28 in the entire National Football League against mobile quarterbacks. They're not that good, right? And I haven't seen a ton this year. So that's the thing where it's kind of like you can't really have a judge. So, but you got to stop doubting Jaden Daniels. I think he's going to play a clean game. I think he's going to play well. And I think if Jaden Daniels plays well and plays great and plays at an MVP caliber, they can walk out of here with this game. I think the entire game is on Jaden Daniels' shoulders. And I will say Dan Quinn's shoulders as well. I do think that he has to coach a very good game too.
So you think if Jaden Daniels plays his best game, but the Commanders can't run the ball at all, you think they win?
Mm-hmm. No. I mean, if they run the ball similar to last week, I do think they win.
82 yards?
If Jaden didn't play MVP caliber football last week.
No,
he played great.
He was great.
He played great, but if he plays like the MVP and the best player in the league, they win the game, even if they run the ball similar to last week.
Also, like if they run the ball similar to last week, Jaden is it even possible for Jaden to play at an MVP level at this point? Because it's like if you don't have a run game, it's really tough to get your offense going. Mm-hmm. That's just football.
True. That is, yeah, it's football. Mm-hmm.
That's just something to look at. For Detroit, I said flex your muscles early. You're better than this team. I promise you are. Dominate on offense and just try to fluster Jaden. It's not easy, but if you got your flyers out there, all these fast linebackers, defensive linemen, if you're able to get after Jaden early and they can't run the ball, it's going to be a really, really long day for the Commanders. And just at the end of the day, flex your muscles early and don't give Jaden Daniels a chance late in this game. Do not let them salt this game away and have a chance late. Because if you do that, you're in trouble. So put them away early and you can win this game.
You finally got David Montgomery back, right? He is ready. He is pretty much fully healthy now, especially after the bye week. But my thing is use Jahmyr Gibbs, because I think Jahmyr Gibbs is the top 10 running back in football this year. I think he's incredibly fun to watch. And Washington's 27th against rush. They're not a good rush defense. They're not. And if you can run the ball and slow down the game, I think Detroit walks out of here with a pretty easy win. You got to slow it down. You play your game. You're better than Commanders, like you said, Charlie. But I don't know. It's a lot of things have to fall into place for Washington to win this game. Detroit's just a better team.
So, are you going to pick Detroit?
Are we making our picks?
Yeah.
How about you make your pick first?
Nah.
Make your pick first.
Nah.
Make your pick first.
Okay. My pick, Lions 38, Commanders 23. I think the Lions just pound them down early. Like I said, they're key to the game.
38-23.
Yeah, I think it's just that kind of game. And I think Washington just never stands a chance. I think Jaden plays a solid game, but their team just won't be able to stop. Their defense just will not be able to stop Detroit. Like, literally, I don't know if Detroit's going to punt. Okay, so I think Jaden plays well. It's not on Jaden. I think it's on the defense. I think the Lions win 38-23.
Let's respect what Washington has done this year, defensive-wise. Let's respect that.
Please.
They have a veteran team that plays very good on defense. The Lions are very powerful. They are. They have some of the best stars in the league. One of the best receivers in the league, one of the best running backs in the league, one of my favorite coaches. Jared Goff played like an MVP this year.
One of the best receiver 2s in the league, one of the best receiver 3s in the league.
Maybe. I'm still going with Washington because I'm not doubting Jaden Daniels. We doubted him in the first round. I didn't. A lot of people did. You doubted him all year. He took a 4-win team from last year. This team barely changed. They added Austin Eckler and got a new head coach, and he turned them into a second-round team going up against the best team in the NFL right now. Right? He's going to give them a shot. I got it 32-28. I got a high-scoring game. I think it's a really, really fun offensive powerhouse game. I don't think many people can stop each other at the end of it. I got Commanders by 4.
No, I think the Commanders win if they keep it low. I think the only way the Commanders win this game is if they keep it to like both teams in the 20s.
Maybe.
And I think that's because then you have a chance late in the low-scoring game. But I think if the other Lions just tee off on your defense and get to 30, you're not going to be able to keep up. Like at the end of the day, Jaden's great. He's going to play well, but can he keep up with the Lions' deep offense? That's just so good. And you're wrong.
Okay.
4-seed Rams, 2-seed Eagles. This is a really good game. Really excited. I'll start with the Rams. It's simple. Trust your quarterback. He always elevates his game in the playoffs. He won you a Super Bowl. He won you a wild card game last week. Lean on his experience. Lean on his clutch gene. And let him win you this game.
For who? The Eagles?
No, the Rams.
You said Matthew Stafford?
Yes.
Oh, I said Jalen Hurts.
No, hell no. Jalen Hurts is not that good.
My bad. I think for the Rams, it's jump out to a big lead early. You're the hottest team. In my opinion, you're the hottest team in the NFC right now. I said that earlier. You're playing such good football. Sean McVay's coaching such good football. Matthew Stafford is playing like one of the best quarterbacks. Jump on them early and play smart, sound defense. Because the defense last week impressed me a ton.
Oh, yeah.
They had 9 sacks. That ain't easy to do. Minnesota had a pretty good offensive line this year. Now, they were like middle of the pack, but this is a very young Rams defense. We got to remember, they lost Aaron Donald in the offseason. That's not easy to replace. They added Jared Verse, kid from Florida State, who was incredible last year at Florida State.
Been great this year.
He has been amazing.
He might win defensive rookie of the year.
He might. No, like he's up for it.
He was like the first defender off the board.
Yeah, he's up for it.
I'd like pick 17. He's like the first defender.
Was it 17?
Was that really? Somewhere around there. Because the Rams made the playoffs.
Either way, the Rams, the young defense has been very incredible, especially what they did last game.
Yeah, for Philly, I said be able to throw the ball. You didn't do it last week, right? And this game can't just be Saquon. You saw what the defensive line for the Rams was able to do last week. You got away with it once with not being able to throw the ball. It will not happen again. I promise you it won't. Use your Pro Bowler pass catchers. Use Dallas Goedert. Use A.J. Brown. Use Devontae Smith. And whoever else you have, I forget. Use them, be able to throw the football, and you can win this game.
I totally agree. I think it's Hurts making plays outside of the pocket. That's my key. Los Angeles is going to close the pocket, especially on his backside. He's not going to be able to spin around in the backfield. He's going to have to step up and get out of the pocket and make plays outside of the pocket. That's exactly what Jalen Hurts has been able to do in his career. So I don't think he's going to shy away from it. I think Jalen Hurts plays a very good game, but he's got to get out of the pocket and he's got to make good decisions.
All right, give us your pick.
My pick is the Eagles, 27-14. I just think that Philly is going to get it going in this game. I've been a big fan of Philadelphia this entire year. I'm going to keep rolling with them. They were my early pick to go to the Super Bowl, so I'm going to go with the Eagles.
Okay. I'm going to go with the Rams here, 27-24. I think it's going to be a very, very well-played football game. I think it's going to come down to the final seconds, but I think at the end of the day, Matthew Stafford gets the ball late, and the better quarterback wins the game late, and that's Matthew Stafford. Rams 27, Eagles 24. You think Matthew Stafford's not better than Jalen Hurts?
I think Jalen Hurts has been doubted this year a lot, so
I
think it is 1,000% an argument.
I think Matthew Stafford's the most underrated quarterback in the NFL. Easily.
In the NFL to this year?
Right now. Easily. Maybe even in history. Like the talent this guy has, the clutch gene, the experience, like he won a Super Bowl. Right? And like Matthew Stafford's a top 3 quarterback in the NFL, and there's no doubt about it. 3-seed Ravens, 2-seed Bills. For Baltimore, it's just Lamar has to play his best game. Show why you're the MVP and why Josh Allen isn't. And lead an offense that can match Buffalo's. Because like I said earlier, they're really, really tough to knock out. Your offense is going to have to be able to match them. So lead that offense and be that MVP that you are.
For Baltimore, is please use Derrick Henry well and in a good way. You've done it all year. Your run offense has been incredibly hard to stop. Keep doing it. Buffalo's decent against the run. Now, they're not the best in the NFL at it, but they're decent. You got to use him well. He's the best player on the field, in my opinion. So use Derrick Henry. I think they have a shot at winning this game because you got to slow it down because Buffalo's so good.
Yeah, they are. For Buffalo, my key to the game: make Lamar Jackson throw the football. Don't let them beat you with only the run. Lamar and Derrick Henry, they're obviously really, really good runners. But make them throw it. If they can just salt this game away with the run, they're just scoring at will. You're gonna lose the game probably. So make Lamar throw it. Put the pressure on him. Force him into mistakes. And go win a football game.
Yeah. I went to the Buffalo offense, and I'm gonna just keep saying these 3 words: spread the wealth, man, because it has been so much fun to watch. I hope they continue doing it. I think this one is shaping out to be an instant classic. I'm gonna use Charlie's words from a couple weeks ago for the Oregon-Ohio State game, which did not end up being. I hope this one is. But spread the wealth, play your game. I think Sean McDermott is going to coach a very good game. I think it's an underrated thing about this Buffalo team. It's how good Sean McDermott is.
My pick, I said Buffalo 31 and Baltimore 24. I still think this is going to be a very exciting game. Could be an instant classic. I think Lamar plays very, very well, but I think my king touches the ball last, and that's what it comes down to. Bills 31, Ravens 24.
Yeah, I just have this shaping out as one of those AFC classics that you look back on in a couple years and go, dang, that was a good game. I remember when I was there, right? I think it goes into overtime. I think Josh Allen just prevails in overtime. I think it's 35-32. I think neither team can score in overtime, and the Bills end up kicking a field goal to win it.
How do you get a 32?
I don't know.
Okay.
I picked it for 2 teams. I don't even know how that's
you
possible.
You 32 for 2 teams?
Yeah, Commanders that's winning 32-28. I thought about it. I just want to pick a different number because I keep picking like they're only going to score touchdowns and it never happens. So it's like something weird's going to happen.
I usually go with some field goals and some touchdowns.
Yeah, but it's just like something weird's going to happen because I haven't been right about my score predictions really. So
yeah,
except that Penn State game.
Yeah, we were really good on that. All right, you give us your dog of the week.
All right, dog of the week.
I was weak. Do it again.
Dog of the week.
All right.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was good.
All right. Mine is the biggest dog of the week in my opinion. It's Jack Sawyer. It's the edge from Ohio State. We talked about him earlier in the episode. It's his senior year. And after the Michigan game, he was found yelling at Ryan Day, being mad about them planting the flag in Ohio State and not being able to go out there and honestly fight. Like, that's what he wanted to do. He was in a bad headspace, it looked like. And he has played so good in the playoffs. He played a good game in this one. Decent game. But then it was the game sealing, obviously, the fumble recovery for a touchdown to go from tie ball game, like a chance at a tie ball game, to a 14-point swing. Jack Sawyer, he is my dog of the week because he pretty much sealed Ohio State's chances in the national title.
Well, your guy made a play. But my player, because when Notre Dame needed the big play, it felt like Jaden Greathouse was the one to make it. 7 receptions, 105 yards, and a touchdown. That touchdown being 54-yarder to tie the game late.
That.
The receiver for Notre Dame, obviously, if you didn't know. Their leading receiver, Jaden Greathouse, I didn't know who he was till this game, not going to lie, but this guy really opened my eyes to him. This guy played an amazing, amazing game. Always made that big play, that big third down, that big touchdown at the end. So Jaden Greathouse, he is my dog of the week. And that's going to do it for us here today. I hope you enjoyed it. Under an hour, let's go.
Good job. That was a good episode.
Coming in next week, we're going to have, probably shorter, have Luke Duvall on and look at college football, look at the NFL, just like this, and we'll see y'all then.
Y'all have a good 3-day weekend, guys. We'll see you with Luke next week.
Yep. See you in the next one. Peace.